Chairman, and thank you all for being here. Director Wray, it's nice to see you again, and I appreciate your service to your country and your candor. Just a very brief question, because I got a lot of questions from Secretary Mayorkas. Um, does the situation in Afghanistan give you a concern about the possibility of terrorist networks reconstituting there and, in effect, trying to incite violence in the homeland?
Yes, actually, there are a number of reasons why we're concerned, and recognizing the time, I'll just tick them off real quickly. One, we are, of course, concerned that that there will be an opportunity for a safe haven to be recreated there, which is certainly something that we've seen in the past, and allowing foreign terrorist organizations to operate more freely in the region. We're concerned that ISIS-K can take advantage of a significantly weakened security environment to operate more freely. We're also concerned that the events there could serve as a catalyst or an inspiration for terrorists, whether they be members of FTOs, foreign terrorist organizations, or homegrown violent extremists to conduct attacks. And then most importantly, we're concerned that foreign terrorist organizations will have an opportunity to reconstitute, plot, inspire in a space that's much harder for us to collect intelligence and operate against than was the case previously.
Well, thank you very much, and I wish I had more time to spend with you on this, but perhaps a cup of coffee or breakfast soon is in order so I can talk to you more about that. Secretary Mayorkas, I want to commend you on many of the things that you've done at Homeland Security since you've been there, particularly in the cybersecurity area. The people that are appointed to leadership positions are doing a tremendous job, and we have a very difficult task ahead of us. And as you know, and as Chairman Thompson knows, I pride myself on being one of the most bipartisan members of Congress and one who is hopefully seen as a gentleman. But I got to tell you, Secretary Mayorkas, there's one major problem that I have, and I've just got to unburden myself with it, and that is the southern border. I started my career as a federal organized crime prosecutor in southern border, and I spent my adult life trying to keep this country safe. And what's happening at the southern border is absolutely out of control. And you and the administration have repeatedly referred to this border situation as a quote unquote rebuild. You need to rebuild the border. Well, let me, some things I'm just wondering about. Is rebuilding the border having an unprecedented level of alien seized at the border over the last 6 months, more than 170,000 a month over the last 6 months? Is rebuilding the border releasing many individuals, tens of thousands, into our communities without vaccinations for COVID? Is rebuilding our border not testing people in Customs and Border Protection custody for COVID because you don't have the facilities to keep them there? Is rebuilding our border allowing more aliens to die in custody this year than in any time in recent memory? And as a matter of fact, in 2018, 6 people died in custody. 2019, 11. 2020, 13. This year, that number's quadrupled to 51. Is that rebuilding our immigration system? Let me ask you, is rebuilding our immigration system allowing cartels to get fentanyl across our border in record numbers? There's been more fentanyl seized this year than all of last year, and last year was a record number. And the fentanyl seized this year is enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States 6 times over. And many of those deaths have reached my doorstep in Onondaga County, where 45 people in the first half of this year died of heroin overdoses laced with fentanyl. That's just my one county, and what's going on across the country. And I guess the other thing too is the number of known and suspected terrorists seized at the border this year, caught, not the ones that got away, caught at the border this year, it obviously is an unprecedented numbers, and you know that, and I know that. Is that rebuilding our immigration system? Is it? So you come to the inescapable conclusion from a letter from September 11th from a career Customs and Border Patrol agent who was running Customs and Border Patrol, Rodney Scott, who said, quote, "In my professional assessment, the U.S. Border Patrol is rapidly losing the situational awareness required to know who and what is entering our homeland." He goes on to say, amongst many other things, it is important to remember that the border is not the destination, but only a transit port en route to cities and towns throughout the United States, and that these gaps in the border are exploited to easily smuggle contraband, criminals, or even potential terrorists in the United States. Now, this is not from some political hack that's appointee by the Trump administration. This is from somebody who served 29 years under 5 different presidents. And so to me, it is unbelievable what is going on at the border. And now we have the deflection about saying Haitians and the border is closed. And now we know the border is not closed because some Haitians are being sent home, some are being sent here, and we don't know what their distinction is. And that's good. That goes for every other type of person coming across the border as well. So, Mr. Chairman, before I ask one simple question of Secretary Mayorkas, I ask unanimous consent to enter this letter into the record, September 11th, 2021 letter from Rodney Scott. I'm
Without
sorry, sir.
objection. Without objection.
Thank you very much. Now, one very simple
Gentleman's
question.
time has expired, but we'd be happy to let the secretary answer some of the questions you presented.
Well, one of the questions you can answer, Mr. Chairman, also that I was going to ask is why the actual number of known suspected terrorists seized at the border is considered law enforcement sensitive. We're not asking about the details, just that simple number. We asked for that information August 10th, and we still haven't got it.
Ranking Member Katko, you and I have discussed the southern border, and I respectfully disagree with a number of the statements that precede your question. I should also say that I have tremendous confidence, not only in the United States Border Patrol, but in its new leader, Raul Ortiz, who is a 3-decade veteran of law enforcement and the United States Border Patrol. And so I look forward to discussing more with you some of the statements that precede your question. We are indeed addressing security at the border. We are exercising and enforcing both the laws of enforcement, the laws of accountability, and the humanitarian laws that this country and this Congress have enacted and recognized. Thank you.
Chair will now recognize other members for questions they may wish to ask the witnesses. I will recognize members in the order of seniority, alternating between majority and minority. Members are reminded to unmute themselves when recognized for questioning, and to then mute themselves once they've finished speaking, and to leave their cameras on so they may be visible to the chair. The chair now recognizes for 5 minutes the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Jackson Lee.